Hello everyone, welcome to this video tutorial from MyOnlineEdu.com where I'll show you how to deal with the database with MySQL. So as you know, for a web development purpose you need a database, and MySQL is the widely used database till date, and it integrates with PHP very well. So first we have to start with the WAMP server, which is our local host server, and basically it is turning to green from red to orange, and it will turn to green so that we know that our WAMP server is working. So now I'll go to the local host, and also from here in the WAMP server, basically you can go to the MySQL and you can also go to the MySQL console. But so basically it is asking me to enter the password. So since I installed WAMP and root doesn't have any password, so I just pressed enter. I did not type any password. So root is the user which has the password. So here now you are into the MySQL console. But remember that working with the database from this console is little bit cumbersome. So that is why with WAMP there is a fantastic application comes with which called phpMyAdmin. So this is a web-based product which you can use to manage your database. I'll show you how. So I'm just closing this console because we are not going to work from this console anymore. So this is the phpMyAdmin dashboard. The front page comes up, and through this phpMyAdmin you can manage your database. You can create new database, you can create new users, you can create tables, you can create columns, you can create indexes, you can query the database tables, you can do lots of things. You can take backups, you can export, import, many things that you can do from this web based application. This is fantastic application. So I'll show you first and the phpMyAdmin part. Next I'll show you another IDE which is MySQL Workbench. So that is not a web based, that is a software available to download, and then you can work from there too. So let us first create a database. So these are the default database that comes with WAMP installation. Okay. So I am going to create my own database which will be MOE demo, which is MyOnlineEdu demo underscore DB, and remember to put a good collation, which will be, in my case, I'll prefer UTF-8 General CI. Okay? And then create. So now you see your database is created. Right? So there is no table as such into this database correct? So first, before I create a table, let us first also create a user. So as you know, see, the root is the one which comes with the default, but I will add my own user. Okay, so here I'll put MOE demo underscore user. Host, I can put local host. Password, I'll give my password, and I have to retype the password. Okay, and then for database for user, so create a database with some name and grant all privileges, which I don't want to. I already have a database, right? So grant all privileges on wildcard name. That's fine. So now the global privilege, I'll check all, so that this particular user will have the global privilege. But here you see the privileges like data with what you can do, you want to do, like select, insert, update, delete, and then structure, you want to create table, alter the table, create an index, something like that, and administration part. So if this user is going to be a admin user, better to check all. But for an example, let's say you want to create a user for which you want to give a read only access. So in case you want to create a user and give him the read only access, for example, your production support team to whom you want to give a read only access just to analyze the issue, what you can do, you can just give him a select access. So he will be only able to select, and he will not be able to do any other DML operation onto your database. But since this is a admin user that I am going to create, so basically I'll give all access, and then I'll go create Y. So I already have an user created. Okay. It has all privileges like the root user. Okay, now I have the database, and then next thing that I have to do is create a table. So let's say I am creating a table. This is my table name, and it will have let's say 4 columns. So I can have a ID table. So now I have to add the columns, and ID is the column name, which is a integer type, and then I can make it a unsigned, okay, and then index as a primary key, and then auto increment. That's it. So and then let's say name will be varchar. Let's say it's a 200 characters, and then maybe password again is a varchar 100 characters, and something like address, which is again varchar, and let's say it's a 250 characters, but it can be null. So I'll check this null box, and once I save the data, so the table will be created over here. You can check from here. The MyOnline MOE demo underscore DEB is the database name, and then here the table is created. So if I click the table, it will give me the structure. If I click on the structure, and since there is no index, since there is only one index, that is the primary key, so it's already been created. You can see the primary key is created based on the column ID. If you want to another index, so you can click create an index on, and then go, and then just give the name. So let's say you want to create an index based on the name, so create a name, and it's a unique index, or maybe just an index. So select index, and then select the column which is name, okay, and then go. So now you see there are 2 index has been created. One is on the ID column and one is on the name column. And now let's say you want to do something changes on the table, like you want to alter something. So here the name, you want to change it, the column name, or any other attributes. Let's say you want to make it 150 characters long. Okay, so you just do it. You can also change the name here and then save. So now see here the length of the type varchar length is now 150. Okay, and let's say you want to add another column, so you can add another column, add 1 columns at the end of the table, at the beginning of the table, or after a column. So after a column, let's say after name, I want to add the email address. So email address, then varchar, and maybe 200 characters long, and it cannot be null, so just save it. So now I have the structure of ID, name, email address, password, address, and indexes. So let's say you want to change the index on name from name to email address. So there you can go and change it to email address, okay, and change also the index name, email address. And you see that index is changed now from name to email address. So this is how you deal with the phpMyAdmin. It's a web-based portal where you can create your database, user, tables, and all these things. And next step, I'm going to show you that how you can export or insert a data. First, okay, so let's go ahead with the table, all these tabs first. So browse is the thing that you see the data, but since there is no data here, so there is nothing will be shown. Structure is something, is the structure of the table. Then you go to the SQL. Since there is no data, even even if you go there, like what are the columns that you want to see, and then if you click go, then see there is no data will be shown up because there is no data. Now you want to insert something. Okay, so you want to, let's say, so ID is a auto it's a automatic increment field, so I'm not going to put any value there. So name, let's say something like Rakesh. Email address, let's say r@g.com. Password something like 123456. And address is, let's say, Kolkata, India. Okay, and then you go. So one row is inserted. So if you browse the data, so you see the data over here. Okay, and if you want to insert one more row, so you can do it here also. Let's say Amit is the name and a@g.com. Okay, and the password is again 1234, and address is, let's say, Mumbai, India. And also you can add one more value over here. Let's say the name is Runa, email address is r@g.com, runa@g.com, password is, let's say, 123, and address is null because it can have null. So I'll click go over here. So now you have total 3 rows into your database table. So now if you want to write a query, you can write it from here. So select start from MyOnline MOE demo table 1, where 1, then you click go. So you see all the data that satisfying this query that comes up. If you want to put some filter condition like name is equal to Amit, and then click go, so only one record whose name is Amit that comes up. So that is how you deal with the MySQL tables from phpMyAdmin. And next is, if you want to export your table, so you can click a quick export. So basically, export rows from the MOE demo table 1, this table will be exported. But if you want to export a whole database, so click on the database and then go to export. So see the exporting tables from the database. So basically it will give you all the tables. So if you click custom, so it will list down here all the tables that you want to export. And then you can select, let's say you have 3 tables, you can select table 1 and table 3, you can skip the table 2. And then you can keep the rest of the things, but add a drop table will be a good option. And also the truncate the data if you are actually migrating the data to some other instance, but you only want to only migrate the structure, not the data. So in case these features will be helpful. Okay, and then you click go. So this is the file name, so I can save it. So let's say I'm going to save it in the desktop, so I save it. Okay, so it is saved. So now I can open it. So that particular export file is opened. So now you see the table name. Since I included the drop table command, so it is included here. But the truncate table I did not do it, so that is why it did not truncate the table after creating it. Okay, so then the create table structure, you see the ID is the column, name is the column, email address, password, and address. Okay, and then the primary key is this one, and then another key, only the index key on the email address, if you remember. Then the insert data. So basically these are the data that had been inserted into the table, and you take this file and then import into another instance or into another database. So this is very easy way to do the import and export in MySQL. Okay, and also during the export I'll show you, like, you can only export the structure, you can only export the data, and you can also structure and data. So there are options. Go through all the options, you will know how to do the export steps. Okay, so this is one of the way you deal with the phpMyAdmin with the MySQL database. So I'm going to show you how you can deal with the IDE, which is the integrated development environment, where which will not be an web based thing, which will be a software, and you can use that. So there is one MySQL Workbench. Search in Google and this will come up. So you go over here, MySQL Workbench. So this is the software, and you download from the MySQL website, MySQL.com website, and you download now. So I already have downloaded it, and the best thing about it is, you don't have to install. Basically this is a no install version, and then you just open the exe file. So MySQL Workbench exe, and your database is open. But remember that the WAMP server has to be running when you are doing so. So MySQL Workbench is opening now. Okay, so MySQL Workbench is opened up, and you see that there is a by default local instance already created for you with a root user, and if you double click on that, so here you can connect using the root user. Okay, and from the left hand side, the schemas, it will show you the databases that you have. So this is our database. If you click on that moedemo.dev, explore the tables. Like we have the table 1 here, right? So if you want to create a new table, you just click here in the create table, and you can create the table from here, same as php my phpAdmin, that console. You can do the same thing here. I'm not going to show you because this is self explanatory, and you can do it from here. So what I am going to show you is how you can actually connect to your own user and with your own database here. So from a MySQL connection, click on this plus sign, which is a new connection, and give a connection name, that is MoeDemo connection. Okay, and then host name is okay. Now I'm going to give you my username, which is MoeDemo_user here, and give the password. You can store it in a vault. So I'm going to give the password for that user. And then give the default schema. If you don't give the default schema, so all the databases available for this user will show you. But we are going to go for that particular database, which is this one. So I am going to test the connection. So connection parameters are correct. That means you are good to go. Okay. So now you click OK. So one new connection came up, which is my connection name, which is going to be your MoeDemo user. You double click on that. So this particular things come up, and you see that by default that MoeDemo.db is selected. Okay, and then here you can write your own query, right? MoeDemo_table1 select star from, and then you run the query. So here is the query result. So the column name with the values. Okay, and if you want to update anything here, you can do it from here. For an example, let's say you want to update the address of Runa. So here you can put something like just India. So it has already been updated. If you go to MySQL Workbench and go to table. Sorry, one thing that you need to do is you need to click the apply button. So it will show you what is the statement that it is going to apply. So update is the statement. So click apply, click finish, and then you again browse this table and you see that Runa has this address India. Already they are in the database. And if you want to put some any other filter condition like name equals to Amit, and then again you run it. So only one row satisfying the condition name Amit that returned. So if you want to add any other new row over here, you can do it from here. So let's say you want to add something like Rimi at g.com, password is 12123, and address give anything like Delhi, India, and then click apply. So now if you delete the whole condition and run that particular query, so Rimi is the new thing that came up. So here also you can see it. Rimi is the new thing that came up. So this is how you work with both like from the web-based version of phpMyAdmin and also from MySQL Workbench. So these are the two very handy tool, free to use, and you can deal with the database. So thank you for watching this video tutorial.